The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by DerbyParts.com.
The 2015 Wadena Grand Slam. Full Lockwood Motorsports and the 2015 Keystone National.
Scioppa Racing and ScioppaRacing.com.
Ultimate Derby and Blizzard Bash 2015. Demo Derby Master. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel at RecklessAbandonGear.com. And Derby Inc. Magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it, Derby Inc.
This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby Podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Crash Course Live, episode number 93 on deck. Happy to be with you here on a beautiful Monday night. Lots of action that we got to see over the course of the weekend, and Jake Sherman's been with me the whole way, making the trip for the first time out of Clarion. Man, thanks for coming again on the show. We're awaiting the arrival of Jim and Cindy Elman. I believe Hank Pencek's with them. They've got a whole troop of guys coming down the thruway with them, and they haven't arrived yet. We're going to be getting with Rick. Have we got you?
Yeah, you're here.
Excellent. So we're going to be catching up with, we'll be talking with Rick Clarke here, and in just a minute we got him on the hotline to talk about his win at an exciting show down there in Clarion, Pennsylvania. On the topic of the Reckless Warriors Tour, Mike DeFreesia has moved into the points lead with that shake-up. We'll get into those details a little bit here in a moment, but to answer some questions that were online, I know Nick Quensler and Chris Quensler and Randy Swanson, a lot of those guys out and that are following closely the Reckless Warriors Tour, they're wondering about the distribution of the shirt that they got and the DVD for the Keystone Nationals. I had the DVD with me in Clarion. Number of limited, I think we gave out like 10 of them to the guys that ran in the limited weld class at the Keystone Nationals. So those are out, and go ahead and start messaging me some of your addresses, and I'll cross-reference that with the entry list that I got, and when everything matches up, we'll get the stuff out to you. So that's all good to go. In terms of the T-shirts, I don't have those in New York. Bo's got those, but he'll be able to assist you with that stuff. Moving further down the country, hitting the Midwest now with Topeka, Kansas, the home of Blizzard Bash. Did you see these VIP tickets yet? Did you see the? And yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you're talking to me or Rick.
I was.
Yeah, I haven't looked at exactly what they are, but I'm gonna find out. It looked like there was only like a 5-day window on there, so
5-day window.
Once I get back, I'll see what the tickets are about, and that might be the way to go.
It's $130 through 10 o'clock on Sunday. VIP tickets are available for only this week. You can get the VIP experience. You get reserved seats, pit passes for all 4 nights, an event poster, the laminate card, and a lanyard, and a highlights DVD, and a set of earplugs, because you need them indoors. But yeah, not a bad deal.
No,
$130. It's the link. It's right on our page. After the show's over with, we'll get you the information on the Crash Course page. We were talking with Sam actually a little bit earlier today, and that's pretty cool. That right there, that's a good deal.
Yes.
$130, you can't go wrong.
No, for several days of event, absolutely, that's a great price.
And again, that's got the event poster, 4 nights of passes with a reserved seat and a pit pass, the hard card laminate, and a lanyard, which you get to wear around your neck. Let everybody know that you're a VIP. It's pretty neat. So get on there. Tickets are available on Ticketmaster. Blizzard Bash online has that stuff, blizzardbash.com. We got some ads that'll tell you a little bit more about how to contact those guys in a few minutes. But now let's turn our attention to Rick Clarke, who came away with a win down at the Clarion County Fairgrounds. Rick, man, congratulations on that win. That was a tough battle that you had down there with Mike DeFreesia.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, it was a good night.
It was a good night. I mean, you guys were battling toe to toe. It was a great run. How happy are you to come away with a victory in a feature like that?
Yeah, it was a good hard fought battle. It was real fun. I don't know how long that feature went, but it felt like 2 hours. Yeah, it was good battling with everybody, David Day and Ron McClung and all those guys I met in PA this summer. Yeah, it was fun.
It looked like it was a lot of fun. Rick, you did enough to save the car a little bit. As we got everybody with the Ellman crew coming in. Go ahead and have a seat right over there on the couch. Hi guys. Hank Pencek joining us here as well. We'll get with you guys here in just a few minutes, and we'll talk a little bit about the action out there at the Chautauqua County Fairgrounds. Rick, we were talking a little bit about the battle that you had. Were you concerned at all about how that car was going to hold up? That thing had already been through one show.
Yeah, I was a little worried at the start there, wondering how long the car was going to stay straight, and just kind of saving it for a bit there, making my shots and not getting too crazy. Yeah, and just at one point we had a red flag, and Bo Lockwood come over and said, "Oh, you're looking pretty straight," so I thought, maybe I'll start turning up a little bit more and just see how she hangs out there.
Yeah, you were hunting
enough car
axles.
to make it to the end.
Well, at one point it was all happening right in front of us, which was really cool. I mean, it was 5 feet away. There was nothing. There was no wall. It was just a berm and cars swinging away, and it was red line against Baldwin. I mean, all that cool stuff. And there was one point where DeFriscia came through and hit the left rear axle, and did a 180 and came back around and caught the right front tire of Rick's car. And Mike is notorious for, at the end of it, he is going for the win. He's going for the kill shot. He's not going to win on a shot clock technicality or anything like that, and he was going for it. And at that point, he began hitting everything with the oil pan because the nose had just gone so far away. I mean, do you remember all that exchange, or was there ever an instance in the feature where you kind of looked at it and said, you know what, this is playing into my hands?
You know, me, I wasn't worried about hitting with the oil pan. I had the pulley protector on the front there, and yeah, Mike, he was peaking pretty high in the front there, so I thought I had a little more car than he did at the end, and I knew he was pretty hot there, so I just was kind of riding around, and he did stall a couple times, and was hoping he finally would stall and not fire back up, but yeah, it was a good battle.
He at one point had 2 plug wires off and a broken cap. And was still.
That's what I'd heard. Somebody said he had 2 or 3 plug wires off.
So at the end,
I was running at full steam there. So
yeah,
I could just outplay him. I could outheat him there if we could stay on hooked.
I was going to ask you about that. I don't really know even how to describe this. The Derby appeared to have ended. Mike came in and hit the A pillar, and you guys got hung together. They threw the red flag, and it was looking like that was going to end it, and Mike was going to come away from with the win. Instead, what they do, they bring out the loader and they unhook the 2 cars. And as they're trying to get you 2 dislodged, I don't know what you pulled out or where you pulled it from, but you were in the car trying to get the bumper free from the A pillar. What was that?
That was a spare old school shifter rod I had there.
Right.
I had a shifter mess up at King's Old School, so I thought I'm going to put in a little backup plan there. So I'm thinking. I just about had it off the bumper, moving it back and forth, and I think I'm going to reach down and grab this rod and see if I can get under it and just pry it up, because that's all it needed was a little pry up and over.
Just needed some encouragement.
The bar wasn't quite strong enough to get it off of there.
Yeah, it was. He was stuck in there pretty good. I mean, it wasn't deep, but the lipper, I think the lip of his bumper was around your A-frame or A-post.
Yeah, I'm having a hard hearing you there, Chris.
I'm
whole
trying to
weight
give
of
directions
Mike's
to the
car
bathroom.
was on top of my car, so it was not like just an easy slide off.
No, yeah, you were working hard.
Pried off of there or lifted off of the loader. So yeah, I didn't think they were going to come and lift us apart. At home, they would have just made a call and said the hell with it. But that's why I like down running the States. They you get 2 guys battle that long, and then they want to kind of end it fairly at the end.
Well, the crowd certainly enjoyed it.
Mike wasn't too happy, probably, but
Actually, Mike took it all in stride. He doesn't get upset about much at all. He was just happy to, he was just kind of one of those deals where he was happy to be there. Sure, he would have liked to take home $1,500, but at the same time, he wasted another car, and that's pretty much what he lives to do.
Yeah. He's going for the points there, and I'm kind of a little ways back there now, but yeah. He's either probably him or Mark or Steve Sailper's probably going to get it. But yeah, it was fun, and I gained quite a bit of points that night, and I was happy. I've been having some bad luck this year, so it was nice to see a W for sure.
So speaking of points, is Stoneboro, is that going to be in the cards for you?
Sorry?
Are you going to go to Stoneboro?
I'm thinking of it if I can get another couple cars together. Still got a good month there, so I should be able to throw something together.
So you're planning on bringing 2, a super stock and a limited wild car?
Yeah, Yeah, whether I go limited weld and then throw some steel in it for the next day, we'll figure that out.
Right.
I'm closer to the time.
What are they running
I'd like
first?
to run both shows.
Stocks. So let's talk for a minute about your buddy Ron McClung.
Yeah.
What was his thought process with the car that he brought down there? That was the most underbuilt car there, and the bumper selection was something that we questioned that a lot on the ride home from Clarion, running the AMC. It was a Pacer bumper, right, on the front of his Crown Vic.
Pacer bumper, yeah. Yeah, we were down in the States last week prior to the Derby getting a load of parts, and I wasn't planning on them. Neither one of us were planning to go to Clarion, so we're just thinking, oh, let's throw something together and get over there and see if we can get some points, because there wasn't many cars showed up at the Brookville Fair Derby, so we're thinking, oh, not going to be a lot of guys there. So my car was pretty well ready. He said he could throw a car together in a day, so we got home from North Carolina. I got home at 4 in the morning on Friday morning, and he went home and started working on that Crown Vic. He said he had it pretty well stripped, so he could just do a bit of this and a bit of that to it, and sure enough, he got it ready and made her down there. It was kind of a thrash there for a couple of days, getting everything loaded up and getting ready to go.
He did well.
Yeah, he put on a hell of a show, didn't he?
Yeah, he knows that. I mean, he did well. When he first come out, I mean, I thought he was going to get tore up, but he was laying some hits down, and he made it about halfway through the field, if I remember right.
Yeah, he made it down a little ways, and it was junk. I mean, every last bit of it was turned inside out. But on the flip side, there still had more life to give. The only difference was that the nose had pulled up so far, and it had busted the yoke on the back of the transmission.
Yeah, that's what happened. He didn't have a slider or nothing in it. And, I think he broke the yoke on his drive shaft there. But yeah, that's the way he likes to run. He likes to run real hard out of the gate, and you put him in a real well-built car, he'd rip a lot of guys in half, I'm for sure.
So at this point, Mike DeFreesia,
he's out there to have some fun, and that's the name of the game.
So we talked a little bit about what these point standings looked like going into the Clarion County Fair for the Superstock Limited Weld Reckless Warriors Tour, event number 4 in the books. Mike DeFreesia, now the points leader at this point with 187 points to his credit. Corey Roman, as we expected, was going to jump up, got through tech inspection without any problems, won his heat. That would have given him the points lead. Mike DeFreesia likewise getting through on the first crack and coming away with second place in the Superstock event. So he's leading. Corey Roman second, only 3 points behind. Steve Siopa falling down all the way to third, still only 12 points out as we look at the final encounter coming up, the 4th and 5th at Stoneboro. And Limited Weld and Superstock both on the card there. So chance to essentially a double points night, which could really, really shake things up if you decide to run both, and we get a final word on how that's going to play out. Corey Roman sitting second after a thrilling run. What a good time that truck derby was.
Oh yeah,
Jake. I mean, how great was that?
I mean, it was just insane. It's the action that was going on. Sitting up there watching, your head was on a swivel. Just no matter where you looked, there was a big hit.
Well, they ended up not running a Consi. The only Consi team that came out was Team Blue, not Ken Kistadden, Rich Sipper's team.
Mm-hmm.
And only 2 of those trucks were able to answer the bell to begin with. Team Extreme, those guys were awesome out there. They were a ton of fun to watch. They won their qualifying heat in about 45 seconds. They were weapons out there, and everybody was just flying end to end. And I kind of think that the Team Minions, Team No Name, it was the white trucks with Tim Showers and Arnold there. Those guys, I don't think that they weren't on a lot of radars. Not to take anything away from the builds, but we were looking at these cars coming through. We figured that Sipper was going to factor in, and really all of my chips were on Team Nux, which is Corey Roman, Ken Kistadden, the orange and blue team. So I was surprised by that. Any feel free. Just give me a yup if you want.
Right. No, yeah, it just goes to show that it's anybody's game out there, and the teams, that they were working together well. The white Suburbans, you could tell that they've run the team format before, but they were working well together. They were watching each other, and you see where some of the teams, are out there together, but it's almost like they're running their own separate shows. They're not really looking around at each other.
Rich Ridinger, he had some problems with keeping the car running. I don't know if it was carburation issues or if it was an electrical struggle, but he ended up getting down quite a ways. He now sits fourth. He's 23 points out of first place. Josh Kewins was there with a super stock car. He has moved up to fifth now. Davey Chapman also on hand. Rich Cipra scoring some points through the trucks. He's 50 points out. Dave Day, Ken Kiskaden, and Mike Klinger rounding out your top 10. Klinger not appearing in Clarion and still holding down a spot in the top 10. 78 points out. So, good 2 days. You can make those points up. We'll have to see what happens. Again, Tim Showers and his team coming away with the win in the team truck program over at the Clarion County Fair. Reckless Warriors event number 4. The final 2 will be at the final encounter, the 4th and 5th of September. We didn't mention, and we probably should, the Shimkos, the 2 119 cars.
Oh, yeah. tearing it up. Mopars.
They wasted everything that they they distributed it pretty well. They hit everything on the track.
Yes. Yep. Everybody got some attention. Everybody got some attention from them.
Chance Smith, he almost landed in row number 3 when he was shoved up over the berm. That was pretty interesting, but it really kind of paled in comparison to the ride that Rich Cipra took. He got caught in the back end and was shoved up on one of those tires. He must have been close to 18 feet in the air. And he just put it in reverse and backed down like it was no big deal.
I can't believe that backed off of that tire that flipped, and he got off of that because, I mean, obviously there was no headlights. If the headlights were in that would have been pointing straight in the air.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, the back of that Suburban was in the dirt. The tailgate was in the dirt.
Totally straight up and down. And then Corey Roman, who we talked at length about having probably the best odds of winning it. He got a hold of the 215, one of the Team Extreme trucks, and flipped him over. Brent Lee, I believe, is who was in that one, and flipped him.
528.
Yeah, maybe it was. It was the 528. Ended up putting him over on his lid. They flipped him back over, and he was able to continue. There was another close rollover, and Corey had just about a full track shot on Jesse Cipra, and took every last bit of it. And Rich Cipra followed him in, and from that point on, Rich, Corey, and Jesse sat in line, nose to tail, and they never moved again. That was the end of their night, unfortunately. And had those guys gotten free, I'm wondering what the outcome would have been otherwise.
Yeah, when they went, everybody went quick. When just all of a sudden, everybody was stopped, and I can't believe the last 2 vehicles we've been running. I mean, they were both tore up.
They were just falling apart. Bodies just falling to pieces, and it came down to the white team losing one of the Arnold got tied up with the I think it was the Kiskaden truck at the top of the track, and that those two got stuck together and they timed out. So it came down to a showdown. It was a shootout, and Showers putting all of his eggs in one basket with that one last hurrah, and he backed it in, and the body blew apart on everything, and he ended up coming away with the checkered flag. Rick, it's exciting to hear that you're going to be in Stoneboro.
Yeah, I hope to make it, guys. Try to throw something together, come down there and play, and try to get up in the top 5, but I don't know if that'll happen. If I get in the top 10, I'll be happy.
You're flirting with it now. You gotta put together a couple good runs. You gotta bring some help and run some interference for you.
Yeah, I think Ron's talking about bringing something. So yeah, we'll wait and see. I got a couple of those buddies down there that'll work with me, and yeah, we'll just go down, have some fun, and see what we can do.
Excellent.
As a builder, quick question: what's important to you? Do you think the tech points, or to try to get go overbuilt, knowing that you're probably not going to pass tech, but maybe gives you a better advantage for the win? Those points
to get extra points. Is that what you said? Yeah, you need those points deals. You need to try to get all the points you can. 5 extra points for getting through on first try. It helps if you're those guys in the top 5. You need those points, right?
Yeah,
but yeah, you try to get maximum points for sure.
Sure do.
And those guys, they do. Chris Forster and Toby Hyler, they do a great job. And you can go up and ask them something ahead of time whether it's going to fly through inspection or not, and they say no. So you go back and change it before you get there. So yeah, they're doing a great job. All those guys, Bo Lockwood and his whole crew. I really enjoy running with those guys.
You mentioned Chris Forster. He shot us a note here while we were doing some pre-race stuff. pre-show stuff, getting ready to go about in reference to Stoneboro, which is going to have the Imperials back. And there's 3 or 4 fresh Imperials coming all the way from Arizona that are running in the Pro Mod class. So they have about 800 pounds of cage material stuffed in them, and it's going to be a ton of fun to watch those guys. Stoneboro, Pennsylvania.
Away from Arizona.
Yeah, they got some. Well, I mean, they were bought by guys in Ohio, and they were shipped in from Arizona. But in any case, they don't have a crew coming from Arizona. It'd be awesome if that was the case, but that's unfortunately it's not. And Imperials haven't been allowed on that track since 1984, so it's been a little while. The guy that last won an Imperial was Doug Miller, and he lived in Ohio. There was championships there, and of course it was a '64 Imperial that won it. Can't really go wrong.
Yeah.
Christy King.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Christy King came down and she took some photos at the Chautauqua County Fair, where there was plenty of Imperial action there. We'll be getting into that here in just a few minutes. Rick, I cut you off, man. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Oh, nothing. My phone's cutting in and out here.
All right. I'll let you go because you got a couple cars to build, and you've got about a month to get them done. So you got to get back to work.
I got 2 local shows to go to, one this weekend and another one the weekend after. So, yeah.
You guys are crazy.
A lot in the next month, for sure.
By the way, side note, not related to full-size cars, focusing more on luminous and stuff, outstanding shifter.
Yes. I can't wait to install it. It's sitting in my truck seat right now, and I'm trying to debate on maybe tomorrow morning I'm going to throw it in. Just
Cable shifter for...
Jason's there, is he?
Yes, he is. Yep.
Hard to hear.
Yeah, Jason's
Sherman?
here. Yep, Jason Sherman.
Yeah, it's a good shifter, and I can't wait to install it. It's a W body shifter, so if anybody's looking for W body parts, man, they're starting. You guys are starting to bring them in. We'll get them parts going.
Yep.
Sure. Sounds good.
Rick, man, thanks a lot. We'll catch up with you soon.
Okay, guys, take care. We'll see you at the next one.
See you soon.
Bye.
There goes Rick Clarke, winner of the Clarion County Fair on the 30th of July. Take a quick look at this stuff. We'll be right back with you.
The Crash Course would like to thank DerbyParts.com, an industry leader in aftermarket parts. DerbyParts.com has become the go-to source for builders looking to make one stop for all their derby needs. A proud partner of the Reckless Warrior Series and a title sponsor at the Bash for Cash, DerbyParts.com offers products from the top manufacturers in the industry, including fellow Reckless Warriors partners Brian Muir and Big Rock Derby products, and performance aftermarket standouts MSD, Edelbrock, Schonfeld, and Samson tires. Inventory includes cradles, Ultra Bell sliders, flex plates, pedal kits, mounts, fans, radiators, adapters, tanks, and much, much more. DerbyParts.com truly offers one-stop shopping for builders ready to perform at any level. Go online and check them out from bumper to bumper. You can find it on DerbyParts.com. Are you good enough to be recognized as a Reckless Warrior? Bo Lockwood Motorsports' 2015 Demolition Derby schedule will now be combined into the Reckless Warrior Tour, designed to give rewards and recognition to drivers that support Bo Lockwood Motorsports. To the Keystone Nationals, which has moved to the Westmoreland County Fairgrounds June 27th. The Jefferson County Fair Championships follows, with the limited road cars back in the limelight as they chase a $3,000 payday in Brookville, with the Reckoning 2 following on August 1st at the Clarion County Fairgrounds in Clarion, Pennsylvania. The series finishes with the final encounter September 4th and 5th at the Stoneboro County Fair. In all, there is more than $75,000 in prize money available among the 6 shows and features some of the largest purses in the Keystone State. Drivers will earn points based on their feature appearances and heat and feature finishes, with bonuses awarded for passing inspection and getting a stick on the first try. The season will end with a points banquet where Bo Lockwood Motorsports will crown the deadliest warrior. That driver will then have his selection of one of the 10 prizes from the Reckless Warrior partners. For more details on the 2015 Reckless Warriors Tour, visit their Facebook page and check out blmotorsports.net. Demo Derby Masters offers a wide array of stock derby parts and accessories that have all been derby tested. Demo Derby Masters also offers custom fabrication, meaning your homespun garage idea can become a finally produced reality. Their team of engineers and Demo Derby drivers have designed, manufactured, and derby tested all parts to ensure the quality and durability, even though they're in extreme condition. DemoDerbyMasters.com also carries a full line of helmets, fire suits, gloves, and belts, and Kaiser's own branded oils and fluids.
Parts are manufactured, housed, and shipped out of their 140,000 square foot facility located in Coopersville, Michigan. Order online at demoderbymasters.com or contact them by phone at 800-472-2464 or email info@demoderbymasters.com.
Ultimate Derby's Blizzard Bash is back this fall. The hallmark of the Kansas Expo Center's Derby schedule in Topeka, Kansas has been expanded to 4 days this coming November. The event will include something for every fan within Demolition Derby. Inspection opens November 11th with the heat draw party in the Vendors Arena. Action starts November the 12th at 7 p.m. with the National Team Bracket and the Qualifying Team Bracket opening rounds. Action returns Friday, November the 13th with National Bracket and Team Bracket Round 2. The 80s Mod Heats and the 80s Leaf classes are also on the card. Saturday's card includes the 1,000 to win RC Derby planned for 1 o'clock in the afternoon at the vendors area right in the Ski Inc. Pavilion. That's before the full-size cars take the track at 6 o'clock with B features for both the team brackets, the 80s Consi, the stock one and dones for Old Iron, the 80s and the Compacts, the Power Wheels Youth Division, and Pro Mods are also on Saturday's card. Championship Sunday rolls off at noon with Modified Compacts and Old Iron leading the charge. Then trucks, the 80s feature, and the qualifying bracket feature leading to crowning the national championship in the team finale. All the action is available on pay-per-view and is presented in part by Speedway Motors, O'Reilly Auto Parts, in addition to DerbyTees.com, Near It Sliders, Ski Inc., Chambliss Welding, and Ultimate Derby. Don't forget, Ultimate Derby has Capital Carnage right around the corner, April 22nd to 24th, a $30,000 to win event is set for that last weekend of April, right back at the Expo Center in Topeka, Kansas. For more information, visit www.blizzardbash.com or www.ultimatederby.com.
And we are back. We've got Jim Elman and Hank Pencek joining us here in the studio. Thanks a lot for making the trip up and braving traffic and making it an absolute record time, making the trip in from Dunkirk. And congratulations in order for your victory on Sunday afternoon over at the Chautauqua County Fairgrounds. Jim, man, congratulations. Nice job.
Thank you.
Had to earn every last bit of it, too.
Oh, my God. I thought it was never going to end.
Corey,
That's for sure.
Corey Neer was, I mean, we're talking seconds away from picking up for the first time since like 1983 and 84, his second consecutive win out there at the Chautauqua County Fair, having won last year. He had a new style Ford, and you had a pre-run. I believe that one was the 64 Imperial. And sure enough, a $400 junkyard motor refired one last time, and it limped forward just enough before the shot clock expired, and you made contact with him, and Corey's car did eventually start just as the horn sounded.
Yeah, it was amazing. I really didn't think I'd make it to the end. I had my brother's, I had his theory in. He always went head first every time. He never used the back end whatsoever. So I went in there. To tell you the truth, it was my brother Todd's Imperial.
Right.
Because after Tuesday, I kind of trashed everything I had. So, yeah, so I was just, thank God he had something. Actually, he had something for both me and Hank.
Right.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah.
If I didn't say it, thank you.
Yeah, that definitely.
And this $400 junkyard motor jab that Chris gave us, me and Todd's high-dollar motors did not stop running. It was our tranny coolers that took the crap, all right? So his $10,000 Baldwin and my $4,000 Grope, they ran.
Nobody said anything about that. Nobody
I
said
know what
anything
everybody's
about
getting
that.
at. Everybody's getting at the fact that I overbilled.
I just thought that it was entertaining that motor refired.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was-
it was amazing.
It was awesome.
It was. I mean, it had to be. It had to be a special night for you guys. I
Yeah.
mean, everything with Chad's passing in January and all the tributes that were done. Team Nasty Dogs putting on that exposition of Demolition Derby with just the four of them coming onto the track and the D Heat on Tuesday. All the cars out of the same shop and annihilating everything. They come home with that award. Nonetheless, emotions still running high between the black and orange team and the blue team. It wasn't even a team derby, but it certainly began to take the form of that as we worked through the week of the fair. All the blue shirts all over the place and the memorials and tributes that were being offered up, independent of the stuff that had been planned at the fair. for that motor to refire, what was going through your mind when you turned that ignition one more time and finally it caught after you had no steering and you let him beat on you on the wall for a little bit, hoping that it would swing that nose out so you could get another shot?
I lost brakes halfway through it, and people were pushing me. I couldn't even stop, so I was hitting walls. I was hitting whatever was in front of me or behind me. Yeah, and then when it was down to me and him, he basically wasn't even overheating yet. I'm like, here we go. This is gonna be tough. So that's where I figured I'd just do the best I could, drive around, and I was kind of losing my steering at the time. My wheels were pretty well bent in.
Yeah, they were over pretty bad.
Yeah, so, and then I lost a tire on top of it, and I'm like,
see, I don't know. I don't know if that was really anything that was a hindrance, because when the tire got spit off on the right rear, that rim got hit twice and on opposite sides, and it bent it, and it turned into a paddle, and you were able to grab grip on that right side. So through the final moments, when you got off the wall, that one hit turned your nose out, and you got off the wall. When you backed up, having no tire on the right side gave stagger advantage to the left, and it backed the car up over to the right side, and that's what lined you up to make the winning shot.
yeah, I thought he wasn't going to lay off. I thought he was just going to keep trying to shove me onto the wall, and I'm like, definitely in trouble.
Well, your car was sitting low enough where it wasn't going up on anything.
The front end was high, though. I could really see he was looking out over the top.
I'm not an Imperial type of guy, but it was fun, definitely fun driving that.
And it was 2 years ago where you had the wagon that Pat Osmond drove.
Yes.
And all intents and purposes, you're pretty close to winning that one. And it ended up being Todd that took the win there. And to turn around and get some redemption, and nonetheless it was in an Imperial. What's it mean to win at your hometown fair?
It was awesome, especially after my brother and everything. So everybody, I've never, in them cars, they're so loud you can never hear the fans at all. I mean, you can't.
We did last night.
I was going to say, you had to have last night, because when you made that last hit, I mean,
the crowd went absolutely.
They were just crazy. Everybody was on their feet. Everybody was screaming.
Yeah, I definitely heard them. I'm like, oh my God, first time ever I've heard the fans. It was
it was
crazy.
Intense.
It was awesome though. I had a lot of support.
Hank builds all the cars for that come out of the shop. You guys get some help, but most of the heavy lifting is done. And that all falls on Hank's plate. We saw the picture that Pat loaded to Facebook at 11:30 on Saturday night.
I did. I looked a little defeated, but
I looked a little dumbfounded.
But at 4 a.m, the pile of steel had diminished, and the back end of the car was nearly put together. Mm-hmm. I got a lot of looks when I went to the track that, hey, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. The front end was, I didn't lose a radiator, just overheated. So the front end, I must have did something right.
Right.
But overall, though, the week, though, everybody's support for the family was awesome. All the high fives and all the people coming down and the crowd. I mean, everybody was super supportive. It was definitely an emotional week.
Well, I would
with
think
Chad's passing and stuff, and the way that we dominated on Tuesday night. I mean, it was a team show, more or less. I mean, it got stopped 4 times for teaming. Unfortunately, Aaron Robinson got thrown out, which was a bad call, I think. But you got Podunk officiating there. Those guys just want to see the show up close. They know nothing about what we do.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that call was interesting. We talked about that a little bit on the ride home today. That Imperial that Robinson had, every time he backed up, he was hitting the block. He went forward, and you've got 2 other factors there. Patrick's tires were in the ditch, and he was high-centered. He was also leaning out the car door up to his waist, waving Johnny Robinson on.
Johnny Robinson on, yeah.
So what's Johnny going to do? Johnny's going to hit that guy.
Yeah.
That's just the way that it works. That's the way of Derby. If somebody's egging you on, which you did to Todd.
Well, that was a swing and a miss, and that was for the show. Sometimes you got to give the crowd what they want. We gave them a little bit of a show because when it came down to the 3 of us on Tuesday, it was awesome. Me and Jimmy are thinking, when is this clown going to shut his car off?
Right.
We got to get in still. And he was out there trying to have some fun with us. Well, me and Jimmy have never won the show until yesterday. Jimmy won it for the first time. A lot of second places, a lot of bridesmaids, but I was egging him on. I wanted the boss to hit me. Come on, give me some. And then I got him next to the wall. And you got to get some video of that. That was phenomenal.
That was a lot of fun.
He said he was in reverse, foot on the brake as hard as he possibly could, and he bit it. And I had no steering, and I still got away from him. So we had a lot of fun. It was a very interesting week.
Where we were going a minute ago about how the fact that you build all that stuff, what is more meaningful to you? You've got all these cars that were out there on the track in various states of disrepair. Patrick's able to go out there and run. We saw the fresh build for Todd. We saw Jim's car was put back together. You had one for yourself. We saw the Kesslers were in cars that came out of the shop, that those got band-aided back together, and they ended up running both nights. That was one of Todd's cars that he ran and flipped over at Lake Erie last September. Todd comes away with that car with the Baldwin motor and the ski cradle and all the work and everything that went into it. He comes away with the heavy hitter award in the feature after winning heavy hitter, and that's how he got in on Tuesday. And then you've got Jim coming away with the victory. For you as the builder, which one do you take more pride in?
I don't know. I guess all of it. You know, it meant a lot to put these guys in cars for the family. When Jimmy's mom said thank you to me, that's all the trophy I needed. You know, I didn't need big slaps on the back, and I might tell people how good of a builder I am. It's all BS. I'm just blowing smoke, but it meant a lot to me for them guys to be out there. It meant a lot for the people of our community for them guys to be out there. I mean, it was very humbling. You know, we got a lot of attention, but we had cars. I put the time in, you know.
Sure.
Yes,
You got to put the time in.
I've been around derbies for a few days, and growing up in as a Delaware County boy, we've seen a lot of imps getting smashed through the years, and I have never seen the Imperials built like that. I mean, they were just beasts. I mean, nasty. I mean, I went out there, I was impressed, you know, and not to bring up, but I spoke with you a little bit about that.
They drove to the caliber what they had too. There was no soft shoeing it.
Oh no, absolutely. Especially you setting a pace there at the beginning of the feature. I mean, as soon as the flag dropped, you were at the other end destroying people.
We've never been able to back in at Dunkirk, so in 20 years we've never been able to back in. And I tried to do it at Little Valley last year on the 4th of July, or 2 years ago on the 4th of July, and they were like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "This is a front end car. You know, I want to go out there and give them everything I got."
Noses out.
Noses out. You know, pick your shot, take it, commit to it. I lifted a little bit because I didn't want to hurt the guy. You know, he's got a 7-year-old daughter. I don't want to hurt nobody. I didn't hit him on the driver's side. I didn't want to push the steering wheel into his belly or nothing.
So you pushed the frame rail from the right side to the left side.
Yeah, I just swayed it a little bit. I could fix it. You know, a welder, torch, and a port of power. I can get that thing straight again if you need some help. I want to see him out there again. But
that's actually an interesting dynamic about being on the track as a builder for a lot of these cars, because it's almost like you're junking your own stuff, and you know that, man, I could fold that right over, but I know I'm going to have to fix it tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, that's an interesting dynamic of knowing that you got to fix the people that you're hitting.
The funny part about that is on Tuesday night.
That's job security is what that is.
That is. If we junk all the cars, I get to build more cars. We got them, but the funny thing is that me and Jimmy took it to Todd a little bit on Tuesday, and I ended up running Todd's Tuesday car in the feature. You know, and I'm like, man, if we wouldn't have gave him so much of the business, I think I would have had a lot less work. But he just wouldn't shut off, so we got him a couple times.
Yeah, gotta do what you gotta do.
Gotta do what you gotta do. Jimmy realized I didn't have any steering, so he was doing a little steering for me. He got alongside me a few times and nudged me in the direction I needed to go, or tap my rear quarter, but...
There was nobody helping you Sunday, though, Jim.
Oh, my God, no.
Are you kidding me right now? We helped him.
No.
I took out a car in the first 2 seconds.
Yeah, but we're not talking about you right now.
Oh.
We're talking at the end when you had no steering.
I was giving it everything. It was like my wheel was facing like the door. So
it didn't come over that far.
It went over. I was like, oh my God, here we go. And then I seen him stall. I'm like, I gotta get back far enough and try to pull that wheel as hard as I can to just try to get over. So I backed up once, went forward. That was a miss.
Yeah.
Backed up again and went a little further. I'm like, it's got to go left. It's got to go left here. I'm like praying to God it goes left. So I just gave it the gas and held on as hard as I could to the left side of the wheel, and it hit him. and then I just stayed there. I figured, well, I hit him. I'm just going to neutral it and see if he can get it going.
Well, that is one thing that was called consistently all night, was if you are beating on somebody, that 60-second shot clock is going to reset every time you hit them. If you back up, put it in park, and let them have to hit you, that's when that clock will begin, and it'll count down, and they'll either make the contact, refire, whatever it needed to be, or they'll be counted out. And that was called the same way all along. You saw the compact guys eventually had to back off or had to put it in neutral, as you said it, to end their heat. And everybody in Dunkirk loves to hit everybody in Dunkirk. You know, when the compacts come off the line, there's 25 of them on there. They go to each side of the track, and they just trade full track shots back and forth until there's one steaming Lumina left. It's pretty much the recipe for the day. It was a lot of fun to watch that happen because you were using his aggression against him by positioning yourself against the wall, trying to give up the rear so that it would get you turned and let you blow a donut or something like that. And then we talked about the tire coming off, which gave you the stagger you needed to get the crosshairs dialed in on him right there at the last minute. And putting it in neutral, that was exactly the thing to do.
Well, earlier in the heat, I was actually stuck on Wayne Clemens, and me and him were pretty much, our noses were attached, and Wayne was pretty much overheated and done. And I was just pushing him around the track, which, I don't know, I finally made it. Pushed him so far down the track, I actually ran into Corey. So Corey looked around and seen Wayne stuck on me. So Corey actually, I think, was trying to help out Wayne by knocking him off me, but didn't realize he was already done. So I would have been done. I was stuck pretty good.
So you guys have another show out there, Lake Erie Rumble, coming up in September. We've got that event and I believe that's the 26th of September. It's the same day as Brookfield Wheel Days. Let's pull up September's calendar because it's only about 8 weeks away. Yeah, the 26th. But before that, possibly for the last time in Demolition Derby history, we've got a New York State Championship that's poised to happen on the front stretch of the mile under JM Productions regulations, which is a far, far, far more stock build than what Hank's used to doing out there in Dunkirk. Are you going to be bringing a car out to that and representing Chautauqua County?
Yeah, I told him I'd go. I think Hank and Pat's got something up their sleeve for me, and we're out looking for a car now. So
yeah,
we're gonna try to find a Lumina of some sort. And
now you're like 7'5", so they just gonna mount a seat in the back seat so that you can
like
fit in one of those cars.
Yeah, you know what? I usually have a little bit of a problem with that because by the time you get the rear support behind the seat, it's like usually doesn't work for me too well. My head kind of bounces off the ceiling once in a while.
Have you ever messed with the small cars like that?
No, I actually, for the first time I ever ran a small car with my son Josh. That was in September last year. So we just had a Grand Am and threw it together and went out there and had some fun. And it was kind of weird because I'm in the passenger seat now. And I'm like, oh my God, did that feel weird? Did that ever feel weird? I just wanted to do something, you know. It was like crazy. So yeah, he did pretty good though. And, kind of excited for this September. So
Chad Ellman, love of the chain and go stuff. We saw him finish second 2 years in a row at the Lake Erie Rumble show. You're detuning quite a bit from where you're at. You know, Hank, I'm assuming, is going to be working on the car that you choose for the state fair, just like he does all the other cars that come out of the Ellman shop. How hard is it going to be to pull the reins back on this thing and really stock it down for the state fair?
Well, I build to the rules when I read them. So
I'm going to show him the rule book.
Yeah.
For the first time, I think, ever.
So I think in a night we could probably put the state fair car together. We got to get going on the September cars for our hometown. We're going to run a couple Chad cars. That white Impala that he took second with, we're going to bring that back. I got that pushed down. We're going to do a little fixing on it, put a front clip on it, put one of the Elman boys in that. I got offered my pick last night of which car I want to run. I think I'm going to run the one he's had the longest. I think I'm going to run that green Imperial.
Okay.
With the back end rolled perfect, the frame is straight. Just maybe put a different drivetrain in there and go out there and drive it Chad style.
That's pretty cool.
We got a couple other cars there.
Yeah.
You like the rule set that you've got in Dunkirk. You like that heavy build, and there's things that you want to have added to the rules for some unknown reason. You want to do more to the cars. And Jim, what do you think about that? You know, Chad was always a chain and go guy. He didn't like where the sport was headed in terms of this heavy stuff. Where do you fall on that?
Yeah, probably somewhere in between. I mean, this guy gets a little carried away. I mean, someone might get hurt somewhere down the road. Hopefully not. But, I mean, like you said, he had a let off on it. But, yeah, Chad was always I'm just going to chain it up and go. And hold it to the kitchen.
And I got to tell you a story. I had a Lincoln. I was building a Lincoln for Todd, and I had it in the garage, and I said, just leave it in here overnight. It was summertime. We left the truck outside. I got there in the morning, and that white Impala was a road car the night before. He was driving it from his house to the shop.
Right.
I got there, and the headers are through the hood, and I'm just like, oh, boy. The title was on the front seat. I'm like, this guy is nuts. I mean, he is absolutely crazy. I would have drove that car for 5 more winters. You know, it was just, but he loved to do that. You know, he was a chain and go kind of guy. But as we go through the garage, there's a lot of parts in there that he was conspiring to build something crazy. He's got lowers.
Oh, really?
The square-backed Big Rock that I had in my car was his. I borrowed that in my wagon. Oh, yeah, he had some parts in there. So there's, I think he had 5 slider drive shafts that we didn't know about.
Really?
Yeah, he had something going on. He wasn't telling none of us. So I mean, 'cause that's
well, he'd always said that even though he wasn't a big fan of the heavy stuff, he always wanted to drive it Bash for Cash.
Yeah.
Was that pretty much what these?
I think that's what he was lining up for. You know, I
Yeah.
think that's what he was getting his eggs in a basket for, because he
Was he planting these like a squirrel plants nuts and hoping a tree grows?
It's amazing what I find.
Grows a weld car.
Every time you turn around, you're finding something.
Yeah, motor mounts and this and that. And I look inside the cars, and he's got them hidden in the trunk, and I'm like,
It's a good thing it didn't get scrapped.
yeah, I'm in awe.
Thoroughly got to look through some of
You
it.
really got to look through the stuff. I mean, he had hiding spots, you know, so he had some crazy stuff. I mean, we scrapped one car, we pulled the drivetrain out of it, and I go to take the tank out of it, and it was probably a good idea when he built the car. He welded the tank in
He welded it.
because it had no gas in it when he welded it in.
Right.
But I'm the crazy guy who had to cut it out when it was full of gas. You know, and me, Jimmy, and Todd are firemen, and I got Pat Osmond and his dad there, and Pat's got a cup of coffee. That's our extinguisher. So I'm cutting, and Pat's like, whoa, there's something smoldering. I'm like, oh, man. But we got it out of there. Then Senior showed up, and he's like, what are you guys doing?
You don't want
You don't want to know what your son did. But we keep finding little tidbits here and there, sliders and yokes and big rocks and lower cradles. I mean, he had the stuff to put a car together that would have been intense. Evil, yeah. Bumpers. I mean, the guy must have 15 to 20 bumpers. He's got cars loaded with bumpers, and it's the bumpers that are on the cars are awesome. I mean, it's amazing the stuff he has, you know.
And you said you don't want to keep any of those pointed Mopar bumpers. You want to get them out of there as fast as possible.
Well,
maybe not that many words.
I don't like them personally. I'll go with a DEC bumper. When you fully weld one of them, it's like putting a 4x4 on the front of your car.
Right.
It really is. You know, so those pointy Mo's, in my opinion, this is my opinion, they wreck A-frame forward too fast for me.
Sure.
And you know, maybe on Illumina, that'd be an awesome thing. But I guess a lot of these rules for even our youth show isn't allowing a pointy. They don't want anybody, because we're allowing dads to get hit in that door due to the kids not knowing enough about Derby. And
sure.
That's a hell of a thing to say. Yeah, you can hit the passenger door with your parent in there, but you can't hit the other door.
Right.
That makes me feel good.
Well, when they're lighting them up, I mean, dads are getting lit up at Lake Erie Rumble, you know, but that's good for our sport. It was one of the biggest heats. You were down there last year.
Absolutely.
And that crowd went crazy.
I think the person
kids.
that had the most fun in that heat was Jack Warrior.
Yeah,
he loved it, you know, and he was a passenger.
Yeah.
And he wasn't.
It was a lot of fun. You know, we did it at Bash for Cash with my daughter, and she went down to 5th or 6th, and instantly I looked at her eye and I knew she was hooked.
Right.
You look at Josh and he's hooked. I mean, he is hooked. Hook, line, and sinker.
Well, Jim Sr. ran Dunkirk for a long time, and you and your brother Todd got into it, and I think Chad got into it, you know, just basically in line. But then you guys got away from it. So how many years have you run in Dunkirk?
Oh, man. I don't know, man. It's been a long time. I mean, I remember watching my dad running, and you had stock everything, gas tank stock, everything stock. And oh, you're only allowed 5 gallons in a gas tank. It was my dad dumping 10, 15 gallons in. I'm like, what are you doing? How are they gonna tell? Well, one time he got hit, split the tank open, and he just took off down track, and all I remember was something ignited at one end, and that flame just lit up the whole. I mean, I don't know, teenager, you know.
Right.
I'm looking at that, I'm going, oh my God, there's no way you're getting me in them cars with original everything. I mean, they basically knocked the windows out.
A couple years later, he's probably in his car.
Yeah. A year or two later, here we go.
But he doesn't. Jim Sr. doesn't drive anymore.
No.
I am trying to get him in a car.
Yeah.
My mother will kill you.
She is against it. And I tell her that I'm building cars better than back in the day, and they're safer. We're getting minor black and blue marks and some scrapes.
Minor.
Did
Did you see the slash on Pat's leg that he showed everybody at breakfast?
Oh man, I thought he.
Yeah, I got one too.
I thought they were gonna have to amputate.
Oh right.
I thought they were gonna have to. Pat's leg was gonna get amputated. It was pretty bad, wasn't it, Jason?
Yeah, it was deep.
Oh, I don't know how he got that though. I mean, it was on his non-driving leg.
His non-driving leg.
Yeah, his left leg. But
I thought he said it caught the shifter.
Yeah, I thought that's what he said.
Yeah,
I don't know. The hitting at Dunkirk, I don't think it matters what leg it on, because I was watching some of the drivers in there, and when they use Helen's words, when they got smoked, some of the guys that were in the driver's seat were sitting in the passenger seat. People just, there was some hitting going on there.
Yep. Getting tossed on the floor, steering wheel ripped out of your hands. We had a couple pictures of Wayne Clemens. He was holding on to a steering wheel on the passenger side. His hands were right in the right spot, but the steering wheel was just not clean out of his hands. Right over to the other side of the car. Kevin Seeley had a car that was way underbuilt for the Imperials. He was out there with him. That was his Kings of Old School car.
Oh yeah.
On Tuesday, and he got roped nose to nose, and it bounced him around in the seat 2 or 3 times before he got himself situated. He was getting hit again, and he knocked his knee off the dash bar, and he ended up going to the hospital on his own to get that thing checked out. And they said, you need to kind of stay off that a little bit. So that's one of the reasons why he wasn't running on Sunday on championship night, but he wanted to be out there. He saw him in the pits. He was still limping around pretty good.
He was.
It's tough. After Tuesday, I had the old school strap across the chest, and I had a mark. It hurt bad. But actually, Todd has the 5-point harness. And I'll tell you what, if you're going to run there, that's the way to go.
Yeah, Mike Brown uses that.
You have to.
I like him. I didn't think I was going to like it. I didn't run one of his cars last year because that was what was in there, and I usually don't wear a seatbelt. I usually just tuck it in underneath my butt so that when you do get jostled around, it just goes. But I put that thing on, and the best part about that 5-point harness is I couldn't turn around and look back. And I don't like using the back end, so it was forward the whole time.
It eliminated a problem.
Yeah,
that's
the key.
Wasn't
a problem. I don't have a backache
Solved
today.
Solved the problem.
So I'm going to put 5 points in my car from now on. They really hold you in there, too. I was surprised.
They're nice. I
was. We had a lot of fun there. A lot of competitors, a lot of great competitors, though. You know, you said Wayne Clemens.
Johnny Krupa.
Corey Neer I can remember him when he was 16 years old. I've known his dad for 35 years. Phenomenal kid, very well-mannered and stuff. Great family. And he's building awesome cars.
Yeah.
Last year's Imperial, guys are like, oh, that car's rotted. When I seen the floor in that car last year, and I'm like, I bought one off of Phil's stress test. It had a all-steel floor in it because it needed to be replaced.
Right.
And I'm like, that's going to be a hammer. And last year with that Imperial, he was hammering things. I hit him first last year. Great competitors down there in Dunkirk. I think we try to put on a good show. I definitely think the people get their money's worth.
Oh, absolutely.
No question about that. You can't overlook Nate Smith.
Oh
my God,
what a car.
Comes from a Derby family. His mother's a great driver. His dad's a great driver. He's come through the ranks like all of us, and he's building some nice cars.
Did you see who was in the Tornado in one of the B-class cars?
No, I didn't.
Destiny Clemens.
Yes.
Oh. She's
Derby now.
Yeah. Yep. And that's not cool. The youth division. She's and Emily Dillenberg, another one. What a great she had a great fair week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
She is a good driver. She's her father's been at our fair for 36 years. awesome competitor, great friend to everybody. You need something, you call him up. He's one of those guys that goes out of his way for you. And she's got a smile from ear to ear. It's good to see.
Oh my God.
She's 20 years old, and she's out there just having the time of her life in those cars,
She looks like she's 13. She got out, stood on the hood, and someone next to me is like, "Oh my God, look how small she is." It's like, yeah, watch out, don't get in front of her. She run you over.
She does some hitting out there.
She does a lot of good hitting. She's pretty good.
Tori Mustarella, he got mission accomplished. He wasted his Ford. He's finally done with that thing, so he can move on to another car. And he had the in-car camera on Tuesday. Things didn't work out so well. He had an axle break. He'd been running it for quite a while, and it was due to break at some point, I guess. And unfortunately, it was early in the heat. He brought that car back and made the repairs. He had a good night. Did not make it back out for the feature because the floor was pretty much on top of the trunk, which was on top of the back seat. It was pretty waffled front to back. But Steve Lanen, he was able to come back. He had some transmission problems and then rear end problems on top of that from Tuesday. He was back there, and it was he ended up qualifying for the feature too through that heat. Ton of fun out there.
Ton of fun.
So many. We're missing a bunch of guys that are good drivers.
Oh yeah,
too.
you can't say them all.
Brian Gonzalez, Dave King, Evan King, the Nickerson clan out there. These are some great the Glowniaks.
Glowniaks, yeah. Pete and his brothers.
Those compact guys that they build awesome stuff too. The Dillenberg says there's Chuck and there's Don, and then there's a Danny and there's another Don there's
I think there was like 7 or 8 brothers. I mean there's a crew of them out there. They used to be big when his dad and when they were younger, Derby, and there would be 15 Dillenbergs. It seemed like everybody, but we have a lot of good competitors.
Prills are the same way.
Yeah.
They're ample in multiples.
Yeah.
So the best thing about all this is like me and Wayne went round and round on the 80s or newer with our Fords on Tuesday. He pretty much got the best of me on Tuesday. Come back around on the feature and pretty much me and him went back at it again. I mean, we're pretty much head to head the whole heat. And and the first one there after you get out is, sitting there
shaking your hand and giving
Wayne
you a hug.
Come over, shook my hand, give me a hug. It's like, can't beat it. It's like you go out there and you really beat the hell out of each other. And then when it's all done, and give each other a hug, good job, and hit the beer tent.
Let's go to the beer tent. Even I had a beer. Even I had a beer. So it was fun. A lot of fun.
It was too bad the Riddles weren't there this year.
I seen him in the pits.
Yeah, they were in the pits. Dave's got a new pet.
Yeah. He told me it was named Hank, but I think he was blowing smoke. But
no, I don't think so.
Mike's building a car for that showdown with Tennessee boy there, Wayne Boardman. He's going to go down to that Sturgis, Kentucky, I think, or something. So I offered my assistance, and when he told me it was a kicker class kind of a car, I'm like, I'm in. What do you guys need? I got a little pile of steel left, so just a little pile, about 1,000 pounds, but we gotta get him out there.
To go jump back to your state fair car, if I were you, I would probably lock up the Weldon wires for a few days because you're gonna have to stand in front of your car every time he goes to grab it and say no because they're it's stock up there. It's stock. You're not gonna like to build that.
That'll be fine. We'll get her done, Jason.
We'll get her.
Jimmy's a good driver. That's the thing. That's why when I built the wagon for him, I said this is the best car I've ever built. The one that Pat ran, he can drive. That's the thing. Me and Todd, Chad was the same way. We're power hitters. We like to take you out in one hit and intimidate you. Jimmy will drive you to death. I mean, he'll get you into the wall, and he likes to drive. I mean, he's a good driver.
I started off pretty strong. I was hitting head on with about everybody.
Yeah, that front end came up for a reason. You were using it. Definitely. You could have used a little bit more of the back of the car. There was a lot left there.
I had a mission.
And you succeeded. Now I got to cut that car in half and put a new front end on that. We got it, though. We're going to get it.
He's going to start working on F1 for me for next year already. It's like,
why not? We got the car. We're going to run a Chad Imperial.
That's one of the
barn.
We got a Chad Imperial, yeah.
That is one of the dynamics out there is that the feature winner, all the cars, you don't have an individual number. Like Hank doesn't always get the opportunity to run 54. Your assigned numbers you come through the gate. So A-class cars are 4 cylinders, A1, 2, 3, 4, on down the line. B-class cars are 6 cylinders, and it's B1, B2, on down the line. And then you've got the D-class, which is like tilted. D-class was like tilted Fords, 80s and newer more or less. So that same way, D1, 2, 3, 4, and then the E class, which is a full size Imperials. Likewise, when you go to the feature, if you qualify from Tuesday and bring a fresh car, you're renumbered with F, F1, F2, F3. The guy that wins the feature gets F1 for the following year. So Corey Neer, when he came in this year, even though he had Corey Neer 99 roof sign on it, he was F1. Year before, I think it was Todd came in as F1.
Yep.
And that rotates around. And when talking about it, if you're not familiar with that, you think that F1 is another Derby.
Yes.
Someplace.
I did. We were having breakfast there, and you kept saying they're building the F1 car. And after we left, I said to Chris, where is this Derby? I want if they're going, I want to be there. So where is this F1 Derby? I've never heard of it. So then he explained to me what F1 is. That's a pretty good idea.
And that is a huge sense of pride comes with I get to go in as F1, and anybody who says that, their chest automatically puffs out.
That's it, because you drive on the track, everybody there knows that you're the feature winner from last year. That's pretty cool.
I think they should stop doing F1. I think they should instead just paint a target.
Yeah, it's hard to repeat. Corey did the best job so far, and Todd got pretty close to he got hung up on the wall last year. But a lot of guys have gotten close. I mean, you're F1 for a reason.
Mikey Riddle came pretty close with
one
that.
Car away with
Todd. He won with that green wagon, the question marks all over it, the Riddler wagon, and then he brought back that it was basically the Dukes of Hazzard theme, the good old boys, orange 65 Imperial. And this thing was just built to the max of everything. And he got second or third. I don't remember was it second?
And then in September he came back and Todd and him swapped places.
Yeah, that's right.
In same cars.
Yep.
So that was a good show, and he's an awesome competitor. He's a good time.
Yep. It's a hidden gem. Chautauqua County, no question, is absolutely a hidden gem. And everybody was telling me how the out there, the sport's dying. We're struggling. We've got problems out there. They had 82 cars on Tuesday and 115 at a county fair that pays $1,250 to win.
Yeah.
Yep. And everybody's out there ho-humming. Oh, things are getting so bad. I think that so many promoters would kill for that kind of turnout. And there wasn't a seat left in the facility. They had peripheral grandstands on the infield for guys from the pits. Those were all loaded. There was standing room only along the fence. They were seating people in the grassy area between the catch fence, that's a solid 5 feet above the track. There's no risk factors beyond the confines of the track sidewalls anyway, but they were seating people in the grass there, and the stands were absolutely packed. And it was really cool that Pat had come out at one point and he stopped in the middle of the track. I don't know what he was doing, or if he had just noticed that all the transmission fluid was gushing out of the transmission, or what the situation was, but he stopped right there just below where there was 16 rows of blue shirts.
Yes.
And that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
It was very cool. It was very emotional.
Yeah, big time. Actually, we found a car for Chad's daughter, Hannah.
Oh, really?
And
Uncle Todd's going
just
to
to mention that, yeah, my brother Todd's going to run with her. I'm going to run with my son Josh in September. So we're gonna introduce her to a little smashing.
Ellman style. So we're going to get her out there, put a bumper on it. She's gonna have some fun, I think.
Yeah, she's going to have
Excellent.
a ball. She's excited. She's been at the shop almost every day. So hanging out, learning the ropes.
Well, it sounds like the Derby community is on solid footing out there, and I really, 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 we were in Clarion Saturday night. We came back home and got everything swapped out so that we could come and do the tape. We really want to bring the live show and stream next year's Sunday feature. There's been some conversation about it, and like any county fair, they have their apprehensions about attendance and things along those lines, just as anybody else would. But I really believe that the rest of the country wants to see what this is out there in Dunkirk with the way
That'd be awesome.
the way that it was. It's something that we want to try and make that happen.
I mean, what was out there for Big Bird Imperials? I think there was 5 Big Bird Imperials out there.
Yeah, I think
Where do you
so.
see that? I mean, is any place else in the
Well,
country?
Minnesota's got a very strong support. I think they had an all Imperial show, and I think they had 35 of them show up. I mean, they've got a very strong footing there, and we're going to see Imperials again at Stoneboro here in just about 4 weeks when we go down there for that show. But the shows that are allowing Imperials are few and far between. Total Destruction now allows Imperials to run just in general population because they haven't been showing up. They haven't been showing up in solid numbers. Brookfield Wheel Days has an all Imperial heat, and there's generally a dozen. I think that's
Yeah, it
pretty
varies,
fair. 12 between 8 to 15 in there. year in and year out, and the heat's done in about 6.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And everything is run wide open, 60 miles an hour, second gear, just blasting each other and putting each other over the walls. That's
over there. How
That's
much
what
do they pay? I bet you it's more than $12.50.
well, that's just a qualifying heat, just like out there. You have to fix the car and bring it back for the feature.
Gotcha.
Brookfield Wheel Day is coming up same day as the Lake Erie Rumble, unfortunately.
That's
Yeah.
the bad part. We got to go to Lake Erie, support the Variety Club.
Yep. The Lake Erie Rumble show is done in conjunction with the Variety Kids Telethon, which is a charitable group out there in the Dunkirk area, and it's a good fundraiser for them.
For MDA, yeah.
Yep. Dave Bongiovanni is the one that coordinates that one, and Rick Kawarko takes care of the fair. Dave's listening. He's been messaging me all night. He wonders why your head's become so big. I told him it's just because of the camera.
I got stung by a bee.
You guys.
I got stung by a bee and I'm allergic. That's what happened. This camera must have added 40, maybe 50 pounds.
I don't know. On the drive up, my wife was ready to pop it. I don't know. It must be getting bigger. I don't know. She threatened you.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't believe it today when we were talking at breakfast this morning, and I just kind of indicated that I wanted to get Jim on the show, talk about the win and how emotional it was, and talk a little bit about what Dunkirk has evolved to be from where it was when Jim Sr. was racing. And then Hank says, "I'll be there." And then I looked at Cindy and I said, "What? Is he serious?"
Yeah, I'm serious.
And Jim's not going to be able to come. He's got to work. But sure enough, I got a note. We were just getting home, and we got a note through Facebook. We're leaving in about a half hour. What's the address?
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
It was excellent. I'm glad you guys came out.
It's kind of a far haul for Jason to come. What is it from here for home? 2 hours,
For me to home, a little over 2 hours. Yeah.
and then from you to Dunkirk would be about 4.
From my home, 4.5.
Well,
Wow.
everybody who wants to see Jason run down in Chautauqua County, be there next year on Sunday. We're gonna have something for him, probably a W body. Jason Sherman, We Crash representative from New York State, is going to be at Dunkirk next year. So if you don't like him, come on down and put on a show for us, would you?
Yes.
Yes,
If-
please.
If,
Mark
if
my
the
words.
builds are anywhere near what I seen yesterday, I am not worried. Bring it on, because I'll just
Do you like the cage in the doors, in the inside of the car?
He doesn't even run cages.
What?
half the time. It depends on how ambitious I get.
Do you load the frames?
I do not.
Okay, then I won't either. I don't want to spoil you. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to spoil you. So
I would be more than happy to sit. I would feel safe in anything you built.
thank you very much.
It was very impressive.
Thank you.
And we'll just talk about what we said a little bit earlier. The community, I noticed in Dunkirk out there, really loves the fairs too. I mean, we talked about the stands and everything being full, but it was kind of weird getting back and having the newspaper beat me back in the morning. But it was on the front page of the newspaper was the Derby we were at.
Not the sports section.
The front,
the
all
front
the
page.
And that was pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, somebody brought me a Jamestown paper to the shop this morning and said, "Here, I bought this for you." I mean, basically the same article, same write-up, but it's right on the front page there too.
They had a little bit of a miscommunication there. They
They
interviewed
misqu-
me
Yeah.
as Jimmy.
Thanks, Hank.
A couple years ago, they had Chad's name or something. I mean, the kid doesn't know Derby.
Builder and PR spokesman. For
Yeah, I gotta get public. I gotta get an agent or something. But
You are the agent.
I am, I guess. But it was fun. Giving him what I thought Jimmy would say.
Perfect.
It was perfect.
It
Like
was
I even
good.
got quoted. It was a good.
It was
quote.
good.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining at
I'm
all.
not
I'm
either.
not a very good speaker.
I was perfect. Even Tony told me I did a good job. I got a little emotional, but
I don't think anybody there didn't though. I mean, that was a pretty intense Sunday.
was.
Between all the cars showing up, between Tuesday was hard, but Sunday was a different kind of difficult.
it
You know what
was.
I mean?
You said it good because it was very, very surreal. It was just didn't feel like a normal Sunday.
Tuesday was the memorial. We talked about Chad, remembered Chad, and everybody went out and drove Chad style, but there was some seeds of aggression that were planted on Tuesday that began to bear fruit on Sunday. But at the same time, there was all this camaraderie about helping each other get their cars done. I mean, the community really does work very well together. As much as they tear each other to pieces, they'll be at each other's house on Monday fixing stuff to get ready for 8 weeks from now at the end of September. But it was a different kind of difficult for everybody that was traveling with us because it was also it was the event anniversary of when we found out that Rick died. And from there, it worked even different levels. Is that the car that Todd drove, that was sort of, eventually the way that it works, Chad was going to end up driving that at some point.
Probably.
When it went after it was shredded 3 times and patched back together, but that car was sold to Hank from Rick. And now, Hank asked a number of times, what would Rick think of this build? He'd walk around and just tell you you're a weird dude.
That trunk, when I sent you that picture, and you were like, the trunk? Huh? I had an idea, and Pat Osmond's told me for a couple of years now, you should short trunk one of these. Well, nobody's ever heard of short trunking a big bird. I mean, it's crazy. And it took a little bit of doing. I mean, it took a little bit of me saying, wow, this is crazy. I've never short trunked a car in my life. And to do it, and it worked. It was impressive. But when I bought that car from Rick, I remember Tommy broke his arm that day, and he was coming to that derby party, and what's his name? Raleigh hooked up that whole deal, and I asked him what he had to have for the car. He wanted to buy something else because he was getting away from Imperials. He was selling a couple of them. And he said $1,600. I said, I'll be right back. And I came back with $100. I went to pop over and I got $100. And he's like, well, why didn't you just offer me $15? I'm like, well, I'm not going to lose this car over $100. This is a monster, I didn't have to drive down south to get it. Rick had it, and for his kids to watch that car last night, I know they were there to watch that car that their dad had, it meant a lot to me, I think he would have been impressed by the build. I tried not to hold back on.
I can tell you he would have. He would have. I seen it in my head. I was talking to you about it later on. That just him walking around, just smiling and looking at everything.
I think he would have found a few little quirks I put into the car. He had an observant eye from what I could tell. I only met him a few times, but and when I called you Wednesday, because I had heard somebody else had run one of his cars they had bought from him, and I said, well, I just wanted to give you a heads up. This is the deal, and I think you're going to be impressed by the build, and it got a lot of attention, to say the least, right?
Yeah, it sure did.
It went through that inspection, but
went through the inspection, about 3 or 4 guys jumping on the front and back bumper, and it just wasn't moving. It's like, I was like, he ain't getting into this show.
But it was torsion bars. There's nothing in there.
Drove off.
Right.
And chaining those humps on those cars makes a huge difference. I mean, you got to get them down and wrapping those seatbelts with those, or you're wrapping the rear leaves with those seatbelts. I didn't believe it until I did it. I mean, it is crazy. It's nuts what they look like today.
I just found this out. Dave Bongiovanni texted me. They're doing a $500 Chad Ellman Memorial Hard Charger Award.
In the September show.
It says September show. I didn't realize that. I hadn't heard that.
Well, I knew that was coming, but it's one of those things that let it be a surprise. But but now it's out, and hopefully we're eligible for that because I'm going to put on a show. I know that. If I get into a fresh wagon, Jimmy gets into an Imperial, maybe we'll take out Todd again or something, We'll see what happens.
Oh, man.
But we're going to go out there and give her hell on September. Wish you were going to be there, but I understand your prior engagement.
Yeah.
We'll definitely send you some pictures. And
please.
Absolutely.
Need those for the next issue.
Please, yeah.
Christy King has 500 pictures. She's going to be loading those to Facebook here. She loved the show. I mean, everybody was there. It was a special championship night. I mean, between the car count and the people and all the emotions and the storylines that were going on at that show, it was an absolute ball. Yep. And I want some cheerier storylines for next year, though.
Oh, definitely. We'll have a first time in 30-year repeat champion or something like that,
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe we'll do a 1, 2, 3 or something.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be out there, but we'll definitely put some cars on that track.
Well, all the years I've been running, I've never seen everybody stand up and
cheer.
Just go.
Either they were cheering for Corey or they were cheering for you, but they were cheering. They
were cheering for you because it was. When you backed up and
the Imperial turned into the underdog.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, yeah.
that thing was
There was a few times where I was sitting there saying, "I think it's over. I think it's over," and you just got out and you kept moving and
don't give
up. And but when you had that swing and a miss, so to speak, when you were trying to get turned in on them, get your crosshairs on them, and you came up and you had to swing and a miss, the crowd was like, and then it was like you hear just
silence.
Then you backed up and you hit them, and I mean it was
the roof came off.
It
was
erupted.
time.
It erupted.
Like I said earlier, I've never heard the audience before, but it just freaking, I couldn't believe it. It was loud.
Me and Todd had front row seats in our cars, and we're just telling him, go, go, go. Todd, he looks over at Todd, and he's like, what do I do? And he's like, get him, just get him. Like you said, the storyline, though, it couldn't have got any better. I mean, it was good.
I mean, if there's a happy ending to be had, for it to play out that way, it was.
And Todd got best of show. I mean,
right.
It was awesome.
What more can you ask for?
They had to be out there. You know what I'm saying? That would have been even better. Come on, Jane. Let him come out and play with us one more time. One more time.
Just catching up a little bit more results over the weekend. Clinton County had their derby. 16-year-old Kyle Barney won that one, driving in Corey McLean's words, like an animal all night. So he came away with a win. Congratulations to Kyle Barney there. Timmy Lang and Eric Flute won the team show with Brandon Tyson. Keith Hasselquist won the Bolt and Chain division. Scott Mulder won compact. 64 cars turning out for that event over there in Lamars, Iowa. But we have extinguished our time. We got the golf show coming up here, the golf podcast with Jim Sinacropi going to be coming up here in just a few minutes. I'm thrilled. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks certainly.
Hopefully you'll have us back.
Jimmy, you can come back anytime.
Thanks, Chris. No problem. I'll be here.
Yeah.
Open door, Hank. Man, you know that. Anytime.
Thank you for what you do for our sport. Thank you very much.
We
awesome.
try to. But that is going to do it for episode number 93. Looking forward as we work through the next 7 weeks. We keep creeping up closer and closer to episode number 100. And we'll be looking to try and do something special with that. But we haven't really planned out exactly what. But
Hank, what are you
we'll
doing?
have something out there.
You
September.
want to come back for the 100th?
Sure, by all means. Next time we're going to be live is going to be from Stoneborder on the 4th and 5th, but we got the studio episodes that are going to be on between then and now. We'll try and keep it interesting for everybody. That is going to do it for episode number 93. Thanks a lot to Rick Clarke, Hank Pencek, and Jimmy Elman coming out and celebrating their wins with us. So we'll see everybody right back here next week. Thanks for watching.
The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by DerbyParts.com. The 2015 Wadena Grand Slam. Boat Lockwood Motorsports and the 2015 Keystone National. Scioppa Racing and ScioppaRacing.com. Ultimate Derby and Blizzard Bash 2015. Demo Derby Masters. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel at RecklessAbandonGear.com. And Derby Inc. Magazine. Live it, breathe it, be it. Derby Inc. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.